This is Global News at 6.
We are prepared for cannabis being legalized.
Prepared for pot. With just over 36 hours to go before legalization, the province says it's ready to roll. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Sarah is off. We'll have more on that story in a moment, but first, the jury selection is underway in the retrial of one of New Brunswick's most high-profile murder cases. 50-year-old Dennis Oland is charged with second-degree murder in the killing of his father, well-known St. John businessman Richard Oland. As Andrew Cromwell reports, the large group of potential jurors are still weeks away from finding out who will decide Dennis Oland's fate. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Sarah is off tonight. We'll have more on that story in a few minutes. But first, a 33-year-old man is facing criminal charges after a pedestrian was hit over the weekend. A man was struck by a taxi while crossing Cogswell Street early Sunday morning. He was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries. The driver was arrested a short distance away. He's now facing a charge of failing to stop at the scene of an accident causing bodily harm. 6:02 and our top story, as we've already discussed this morning, well, there was an outpouring of grief in Halifax last night where a community came together to mourn the 7 children killed in a deadly house fire. When Nova Scotia's next provincial budget is introduced, the finance minister expects the costs and revenues from legal cannabis will be a wash. Karen Casey says the costs and policing for municipalities haven't been as high as anticipated, but neither have the revenues. The province has now asked the Liquor Corporation to look into opening new stores. Across Nova Scotia, there's only 12. Casey said the province expected more people to buy cannabis online.
Andrea Dion, Jeremy Keefe.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are things going so far? I know we've been, you don't like when I just bring up the weather right away, but we're waiting with bated breath to hear, is it rolling into our region? What's going to happen here? What can we expect?
Yeah, it's not that I don't like it. There's a lot to talk about, though, when it comes to weather, because we still...
So 10 or so centimeters, not quite what we saw 15 years ago with White Juan. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
That's already 15 years?
15 years since White Juan. 95 centimeters, I think, is what they said the totals were in Halifax. You would just look at that and go, no, back to bed I go, right?
Close the curtains, out of sight, out of mind.
That means it is Valentine's Day, so from all of us here at Global Television, happy Valentine's Day to you. Good morning, Jeremy. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day to you, Paul.
Yes, sir. Likewise. You got the red shirt going?
I got the red, and you know what? And I've been holding out on you, but I even brought props and everything.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. Valentine's Day lips.
Oh, well played.
Chocolate. Yeah. Why not, right? Thank you very much, Andrea Dion. Well, the round robin at the Scotties is in the books, but a tiebreaker was needed to determine exactly who would battle it out in the playoffs. The Team Canada Jennifer Jones rink punched their ticket to the championship pool, and Tracy Fleury was hoping to make it 2 Manitoba teams in the Elite 8. To make it happen, all she'd need to do was win a tiebreaker game Thursday morning against British Columbia's Sarah Wark. Would she do it? Well, BC won their first meeting in pool play 7-5. It's a disastrous start for Team Toba. BC lying 3 with it scoreless in the second end. Fleury has last rock, but her line is way off and the sweepers can't save it as she crashes on the guard. In NHL action, Habs hosting the Flyers. Prior to the game, Georges St. Pierre getting a huge ovation from the Bell Center crowd. GSP announced his retirement from MMA earlier in the day. Less than a minute into the game, Brendan Gallagher ripping home his 24th of the season, 1-0 Montreal. A couple minutes later, Paul Byron tees up Jesperi Kotkaniemi, his 11th of the year, just like that, 2-0 Habs, and they're not done there. Still in the first, Gallagher squeaking it in from a terrible angle. 3-zip Canadians after 20 minutes. The second period, Gallagher buries the backhand. That would be his first career NHL hat trick as Montreal cruises to a 5-1 win.
You're probably also excited for the fighting with my family because you're quite a big wrestling fan, for anybody at home that doesn't know.
Maybe a double header in my future this weekend. I might see them both. I don't know. They might stop me at the door if I try and bring my cat to the theater. I've never tried it.
I wouldn't suggest that.
Don't do it?
No.
Just a big foam wrestling finger or a sign?
That's fine.
It says Paige, scream for me or something on it?
Right.
It's a nice day for a white wedding.
Billy Idol's White Wedding and a windy webcam to go with it.
There you go. See, that worked out very well.
Like we planned it.
Jane Seymour celebrating a birthday today. Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. Fantastic actress.
Interesting. Found out, I can't remember the clinical name for it, but she has 2 different eye colors.
Okay.
Yeah. But I wish I could remember that word right now. I'd seem so smart. Did I hear heterochromia is 2 different eyes? I think I just heard that in my ear.
Just got the confirmation.
Think how smart I would have looked if I said, "Oh, that's Jane Seymour. She's got heterochromia."
That's right. Now you know. You can go on to work on your Friday morning.
Yeah.
Heterochromia.
You can throw that out at the water cooler, and then maybe someone will think you're smart.
Yeah.
Like you almost thought I was.
So that's the word of the day for sure. We'll
Almost
get the break and come back with checking news headlines at 6:30. Stay with us. Good morning.